From the Hussman School of Journalism and Media at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
Well, the top 10 ranking didn't last long for the football Heels. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Landon Elliott.
And I'm Lee Jeffries. Carolina fell a whopping 7 spots in the latest poll. The UNC football team faced UVA in the South's oldest rivalry Saturday night in Chapel Hill, hoping to continue an undefeated streak. We now know that didn't happen. It was clear from the first quarter that this game would be a fight. UVA took the lead first, but the Tar Heels tied the game and were leading 17-14 at the half. Midway through the third quarter, they had a 10-point lead after quarterback Drake May scored a touchdown himself, walking into the end zone. UNC had many more opportunities to score and made it to the red zone several times, but key incomplete passes at the end zone prevented them from adding any more points, even as UVA continued to score. The Heels had a chance up until the very end when May threw an interception with less than 2 minutes left, and UNC ultimately lost 31-27, the first loss of the season.
And that's why they had the ball 37 minutes to 23. And 84 plays to 77. All this stuff goes in a box. I mean, it's just you can tell it's a formula for losing, and that's what we did.
For more about the game that had fans and viewers left speechless, here's football analyst Rachel Kivlin on Routes with Rachel.
Everyone, let's take a brief moment of silence for Carolina's playoff aspirations this season. Virginia, coming in with the worst scoring offense and defense in the ACC, handed one of the most shocking upsets of the season to the Heels, whose performance was deserving of the loss. What went wrong for the undefeated UNC against a 24-point underdog? Simply put, UVA looked like a team ready to play. Carolina looked like they were sleepwalking in a trap game mentality dream, or nightmare in this case. Let's start with the offense. Heisman hopeful May completed just half of his passes, going 24 for 48. Yes, he threw for 347 yards and 2 touchdowns, but missed numerous throws, including the game-ending interception. He didn't get much help. His receivers also dropped several passes and wasn't getting much O-line protection. You're going to see May with the screen behind the line of scrimmage here, but think about for a second the name screen. You know, where's that get its name from? Because you have that screen, that wall of blockers that's protecting the receiver as he's making that pass, but you're not going to see any sort of protection here. In fact, you're going to see this kind of comedic little meme here, like he's just standing there. There's absolutely no protection, gets tackled right away by 4 players and isn't able to move the chains whatsoever, especially on a 3rd and 18 that turns into a 4th down. Just very bad play calling there. And as for the defense, saying that they had a rough night is an understatement. They could not keep the Cavaliers contained and played undisciplined. You're going to see an excellent QB read over here for the offense. All the linebackers, they're not going to be able to read this fake, and they're going to all push right, and the Who's are going to come right down the center. And also, you know that Virginia has this proclivity to keep running down the center here, so it doesn't make sense why you're not stuffing the middle, why you're not putting a safety in the box and really stacking it against this run that just keeps moving the chains and getting first down after first down. This was a game of dropped balls, missed tackles, and stupid penalties for Carolina. Like I said, one word to describe the performance: undisciplined. The Heels are going to need to do some serious soul-searching to try to gain back some reputation after this loss, but it's going to take more than a few pretty throws to Tez Walker or pawning it off to Omarion Hampton to get it done. Lee?
Rachel, we know that the Heels have been knocked out of the playoff conversation, but what can we expect for the remainder of the season opponent-wise?
The Heels have a tough schedule ahead. They play 3 of their final 5 regular season games on the road, beginning with Georgia Tech Saturday in Atlanta, and still have several ranked opponents waiting, including Duke. It's time to buckle up.
Thanks, Rachel. It'll be interesting to see how Carolina responds to that devastating upset.
The number 3 women's soccer team took on the number 12 Notre Dame Fighting Irish Thursday night at Dorrance Field, in an important match for conference tournament seeding. The Heels got on the board in the 18th minute off a corner kick from Tessa Delarose and Macy Bell at the top of the 6-yard box. who then found Avery Patterson, who moved around her defender and sent a low shot to the far post for her team-leading 6th goal. Carolina once again had endless shots and corner kicks, but couldn't find the back of the net. Notre Dame then leveled the score in the 42nd minute, when Charlie Codd took advantage of an open space toward the right of the net. The game ended in a draw of 1-1, UNC's 7th tie. Against Syracuse on Sunday, senior Macy Bell got the Heels rolling, taking a pass to the middle from Maddie Deline to find the back of the net. Tessa Della Rose then sent the ball to Bella Member at the top of the box, where she fired to the bottom right corner. Senior Sam Meza shot off goalie rebound to put the Heels up 3-0 at the start of the second. Emily Moxley then crossed Avery Patterson, who jumped up over the defender, heading the ball into the net. Patterson sent another shot just outside the box, putting the Heels up 5-1. Milena Rembas finished it off, dribbling into the box and sending the ball to the low left corner. With 42 shots, the Tar Heels finish on top with a 6-1 win. For insight about where the Heels stand after their massive win against Syracuse, let's go to our women's soccer analyst, Caroline Daly, for Soccer on the Daily. Caroline?
Landon, coming off a tie with 12th-ranked Notre Dame and a big win against Syracuse, the Heels are now 10-0-7 and sitting at number 3 in the country. The theme of this season has been ties, ties, and more ties. The Heels are getting plenty of shots on goal and corner kicks each game, but at times they're struggling to finish games. However, yesterday was a great confidence booster for the Heels moving into their last regular season game and ACC tournament play. Yesterday, the Heels dominated the Orange. They scored 6 goals, which is the most scored since 2021. The Heels also had a season-high 42 shots compared to the Orange's 3 shots, and 19 shots on goal. Carolina had a shot every 2 minutes and 10 seconds and a shot on goal every 4 minutes and 45 seconds. The Heels also had a total of 15 corners. These numbers are insane. I've never seen these numbers in a game before. Some players who continue to step up for the offense are Avery Patterson and Maddie Deline. This isn't surprising for Tar Heel fans. I've been talking about them all season long. And as I said last Monday, Patterson, she's a difference maker. She leads the team with 8 goals and 18 points. 2 of those goals were in the thrashing of Syracuse. And Deline led all players yesterday with 9 shots. Now, moving to the defense, I think Savvy King and Sam Meza have been the difference makers. Meza even scored a goal herself yesterday. The Heels now look to Boston College as they travel up to Massachusetts on Thursday night. Boston College is 3-9-4, and they haven't won a match against an ACC opponent this season. So the Heels are looking for a win against the Eagles. Landon?
Caroline, where are the Heels sitting right now in the ACC standings before the tournament starts on Sunday?
Landon, the Heels are currently 4th in the conference behind Florida State, Clemson, and Notre Dame. The top 6 ACC teams will qualify for the tournament. So it looks like the Heels are going to make the tournament.
Thanks, Caroline. I can't wait to see how the Heels do this Thursday to wrap up the regular season and going into the tournament.
On Sunday, the men's soccer team hosted ACC rival Louisville for the last home regular season contest. Following the women's commanding victory, the men's team had something to prove. Quincy Erman made his senior day debut with an early goal after he finishes a clean cross from Parker O'Farrell. Andrew Check also wanted in on the fun as he notched the Heels' second and final goal of the game in the 87th minute. The Tar Heels held off the Cardinals 2-0 to move to 7 wins, 2 losses, and 5 draws. The Heels will be back in action on Friday for their last game of the regular season. They'll travel up to Charlottesville to take on the Hoos.
Coming off a hard-fought victory at Albany, the field hockey team looked to record yet another win at Virginia on Saturday. After a scoreless first quarter, Riley Heck opened the second with a shot over the keeper to put the Heels on the scoreboard first. As the second quarter continued, the Heels got 3 corners in a row, and on their third, Heck sent the ball into the net, putting the score at 2-0 at the half. However, Virginia barreled into the second half, breaking Carolina's defense and scoring 3 straight goals to take the lead at the end of the third quarter. In the final 6 minutes, the Heels pulled the keeper in an attempt to take back the game. However, they couldn't even the score, losing 3-2 and giving Virginia its first field hockey win against the Heels since 2016. For a deeper look at what happened, let's go over to analyst Riley Kennedy inside the cage. Riley?
Landon, I call it the 2-minute drill. People who play field hockey, ice hockey, know exactly what I'm talking about. After you score, the next 2 minutes of the game is super crucial. After a team scores, some teams tend to get complacent and allow a goal in that 2-minute span, or you kill your opponent in that time. You either go up 2-0 or the game is tied 1-1. Let's take a look. Sienna's going to pass it back to the middle of the field. Now, you don't want to do this, but the defense forces her to pass it back to the middle. That's fine. UNC's got to get back, doesn't get back. Virginia taps it in, and now it's 2-1. So now 2 minutes, right? Are you going to try to kill your opponent or get complacent, right? 9:53 on a corner. Virginia's going to strike again, right? 2-2. They scored in that 2-minute stretch. Now, what are they going to do now? 2-2, 7:13. You see, right? Just a little under 2 minutes again. She's going to get a little separation on this corner. You're going to see she does a little stutter step, steps back, she creates separation and scores 3-2. 2 minutes and 2 minutes. 3 goals in the third quarter for Virginia, 3 shots on goal, 3 goals, 0 saves for UNC, Landon.
No saves for Maddie Kahn against Virginia. The first time that's happened this season.
Yeah, you're right. This is the mental challenge now. Last season for Maddie Kahn, she faced 11.5 shots a game at Lehigh, 8 shots on goal a game, 6 saves a game. Now this season, 6.5 shots a game, 4 shots on goal a game, 3 saves. That's completely cut in half from last season. If you're a great team, that means you have a great defense. Great defenses don't give up many shots in a game. When they do, the ball goes in because they're not used to seeing shots landing.
Thanks, Riley.
The UNC volleyball team traveled to South Carolina and faced Clemson in a 5-set nail-biter on Friday. The Heels were on their blocking game once again with a season-high 16 blocks. Mabry Schaffmaster is one of 7 Tar Heels to achieve 1,000 kills after reaching 25 against the Tigers. Mabry tied the ACC season kill record as well. Schaffmaster isn't the only force to be reckoned with for the Heels. She, along with Maddie May and Maria Miggins, all reached double-digit digs, with Maddie May in the lead with 18. Freshman Zoe Barron led the offense with her season high of 48 assists. The Heels took the match in 5 sets. The Heels couldn't carry over the momentum in the Georgia Tech match on Sunday. Amani Foster led the offense with 15 kills and a team-best 0.324 hitting percentage, while Mabry Schaffmaster contributed 9 kills of her own. Libero Maddie May was the only Tar Heel with double-digit digs with 10. The Tar Heels struggled both against the Yellow Jacket blocks and blocking them, finishing the match with a season-low 2 blocks compared to 11 from Georgia Tech. Carolina fell to Georgia Tech 3-1.
UNC Swim and Dive made a splash in Wilmington this weekend. Superstar Aranza Vasquez swept the women's 1 and 3 meter springboard events, while Randolfo Montano and Alex Harry took the 1 and 3 meter for the men. The Heels won all 32 events. Standouts were Katie Pacific sweeping the women's breaststroke events and Olivia Neal sweeping the women's freestyle events. The Heels will face USC in a border battle on November 3rd.
After some mixed results in previous fall tournaments, the women's tennis team showed their dominance at the Tuning Tennis Center this weekend. In doubles, senior Riley Tran and graduate transfer Abby Forbes won the A2 draw, which grants them entry into Fall Nationals in San Diego. They defeated opponents from Duke in the semifinals and Wake Forest in the finals to claim the win. Senior Elizabeth Scotty and sophomore Reese Brantmeyer were also victorious in the A1 draw. It was a battle in the finals as they defeated the NC State team, which had just beaten the Carolina duo only 2 weeks ago in All-Americans. It's the strong return game from Scotty that sets Brantmeyer up for the easy overhead at the net. They win in straight sets. On the singles side, 3 Tar Heels are into the finals of both the A1 draw and the A2 draw. Brantmeyer will face off against her teammate Forbes in one of the finals. The teammates have opposing game styles, and we will see if Forbes is able to neutralize Brantmeyer's firepower. In the other draw, 5th-year Annika Yarlagata will face off against a familiar NC State opponent, Sophie Abrams. Yarlagata played Abrams 2 years ago during the spring season, losing a 3-set battle. She'll need to use her aggressive court position and angles to come away with the win. We know what Brantmeyer is like on the court, but her teammate and doubles partner Elizabeth Scotty gives us a peek into what she's like when she's not smashing serves.
What does art, rock climbing, and tennis have in common? The answer is Reese Brantmeyer. A rising sophomore and UNC women's tennis standout, she produced an impressive freshman campaign for the Tar Heels. She made first-team All-American singles and doubles, finishing ranked number 9 in singles and number 2 in the doubles ITA rankings. However, there's more to Brantmeyer than just her powerful tennis game.
So right now I'm double majoring in studio art and exercise sports science, so I'm interested in potentially doing medical illustration.
Brantmeyer's art is more than just a passing hobby.
I have a drawing that I made of Billie Jean King that she actually has hanging in her house, which is pretty cool. And then I also have a signed copy that she had given back to me hanging in my house, so that's definitely one of my coolest accomplishments in art.
Not only does Brantmeyer excel on the court and in her artwork, but she recently joined the club rock climbing team.
I know a lot of the people in the rock climbing club do competitions, but for me it's just the time to just kind of relax and have fun, and I think that's something I want to bring more into my tennis.
Brantmeyer has found a way to connect the different parts of who she is at Carolina.
I think there is some similarity between art and what I do on court. Being an individual sport, you have a lot of creative liberty and you have a lot of say in what you do, and I think kind of finding your style on the court is similar to finding your art style.
We will be looking forward to seeing Brantmeyer's tennis style on court this upcoming season. I'm Elizabeth Scotty, reporting.
We'll see what tennis artistry Brantmeyer is able to create today in her finals match against another of her teammates.
All 4 of UNC's men's tennis players advanced to the round of 16 and the singles main draw of the ITA Regional at the Cary Tennis Park. Unfortunately, Sunday was a hard day for the Heels on the courts. Carl Poling, Logan Zapp, and Will Peters all fell to Wake Forest. Anush Watane won his first set against the University of South Carolina, but lost the next 2. Doubles team Peter Murphy and Logan Zapp fell to Duke. The Heels will play next in the ITA National Fall Championships.
UNC Ice Hockey had 3 matches this weekend in the Atlantic Coast Collegiate Hockey League Showcase. Carolina took on 3 rivals, Indiana, Louisville, and Kentucky. They had some close fights, but being down 7 players, they weren't able to secure a victory. Their next face-off will be against NC State on Friday at 8 p.m. in the Wake Competition Center.
The Carolina men's and women's fencing teams kicked off the 2023-24 season at the Garrett Penn State Open this weekend. In the senior women's saber, Amon Tucker and Sophia Kovacs tied for 3rd, and in the senior men's epee, Boris Muga earned 5th. The Heels will be back in action on Thursday in Orlando, Florida for the October NAC. UNC's Jake McGillen-Moore won gold in the Irish Open in Dublin, Ireland on Saturday. He defeated Ireland's number 1 in the semifinals to face Ireland's number 15 for the championship. McGillen-Moore won 15-10. Could he be headed to the 24 Olympics?
Basketball season is almost here. The men have an exhibition game against St. Aug on Friday. Caroline Yaffa explores the legacy of a man who helped make the UNC program what it is today.
Has won the 1982 NCAA championship.
Tradition and excellence are 2 values that have carried thousands of men in light blue through their careers in basketball at UNC. Many started with Coach Dean Smith.
He was my mentor. Not only when I was with here did he care enough about me, but after I left, he was such a big part of my life and my family's life.
The similarities are uncanny between the 2 greats.
I think Coach Brown is probably in the top 5 coaches in the history of basketball, pro and college. You know, sometimes when I was on his staff, Dave Hanners and I, if our back was turned and Coach was talking, sometimes we thought it was Coach Smith. These things that were coming out of his mouth, it was so similar. So, you know, I think Coach Smith is the greatest coach to coach any sport of all time, and Coach Brown is right up there with him.
Smith is the winningest coach in the history of college basketball.
Smith is the cornerstone of the program.
And then it continued. And because Larry played for him, then he did the same things. He emulated Coach Smith when he coached. And, you know, Coach Brown's thing when he was in the NBA was to try to get each player the best possible contract he could get.
Coach Brown and Coach Smith have created a Carolina legacy.
When I think about the Carolina family, it is like the best family where everybody really does their best to try to make everybody better, either as a player or as a person. And just, there's no other college program where people from the 2020s know people from the 70s. It just doesn't exist.
In every close family, you're bonded together forever.
Well, it's interesting. I traded Hubert when I went to Detroit. I cut Jeff Lebo when he tried out for San Antonio. I worked for Brad Frederick's father when I was at Kansas. He was the AD. I coached Sean May at Charlotte, and Sean had a bad knee. Otherwise, he would have been playing forever. So I feel kind of a connection there. But anybody that played here, I was lucky enough to wear the jersey, I think feels exactly the way I do. They're all engaged. They all care about the program.
And no one cared more than Dean Smith, who never coached in the building that bears his name, but it's a physical reminder of the program he built. I'm Caroline Yaffa reporting.
Dean Smith, Larry Brown, Phil Ford, and Dave Hanners are just a few of the UNC greats who have impacted this organization, and their dedication to Carolina basketball proves how special the program really is.
Of course, Lee, we couldn't end a Sports Extra show without the play of the week for you guys. This week's play of the week is this kill by Mabry Schaffmaster. This was her 1,000th career kill. Schaffmaster is just the 7th player in Tar Heel athletics to achieve 1,000 kills. This is an incredible accomplishment for Mabry, and we can't wait to see what's in store for the rest of the season and her career as a Tar Heel. Now, Larry Brown mentioned that 3 of his granddaughters attended Carolina. We know that one of them is right here in the studio because she's our classmate, Mason Murr. Welcome, Mason. So tell us, what are the other 2 up to at Carolina right now?
Thanks, Landon. It is quite special to have them here with me. My sister Carter is a junior here, studying human development studies, and my cousin Julia is a junior studying video journalism in the Hussman School as well.
And Mason, we hear that there may be a 4th granddaughter on her way to Carolina?
Yes, my sister is currently a senior in high school, and I'm trying to convince her to come here as well.
Well, that does it for this edition of Sports Extra. We'll be back on Friday with a preview of another exciting weekend of Carolina athletics.